big stories. The feud between cousin Senator Imee Marcos and House Speaker Martin Romualdez rages on. Romualdez tells her walang bastusan, while Marcos says he started it.
The Philippines and Vietnam agreed to boost maritime cooperation and bilateral trade, starting with a 5-year rice supply deal.
And newly appointed Gilas Pilipinas coach Tim Cone will be joining us later on to talk about what's in store for the national team ahead of the upcoming FIBA window next month.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm
Just
Sean Yao.
So see, I was away for a while. Hindi ko na alam which one's my camera. Here is my camera. And
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, yes, I wish we could deliver good news right away. But as you girls know, things are continuing to heat up between members of the so-called unit team. Following this showdown rallies in Davao and Manila on Sunday. Earlier today, at a hearing, Senator Imee Marcos did not mince words and blasted proponents of the People's Initiative for Charter Change. Listen to this.
Sino man magsabi na walang paki ang Senado sa usaping ito, isa lang ang masasabi ko, walang gamot sa kakapalan ng mukha mo.
Ouch. Okay, but though Sen. Imee did not directly name her cousin, Speaker Martin Romualdez, this time it was evident that this was the case, that she's referring to him as she played this clip again and again during the hearing.
Wala kayong pakialam sa PI. Wala kayong pakialam sa PI. Wala kayong pakialam sa PI.
Now, what was actually the purpose of this hearing? Well, this is part of the Senate's ongoing probe into the alleged signature buying for the People's Initiative that's supposedly being led by members of the House in their bid to amend the Constitution. Present at the hearing is the leader of the group Irma, which has admitted to having started the signature campaign. Senator Marcos asked the group's lead convener, Noel Oñate, if they were assisted by Speaker Romualdez and Ako Bicol Party List Representative Elizalde Co in launching this campaign. Oñate initially denied this, saying Romualdez and Co were not present in their meetings, the first of which was in January 2.
Pero at this point, dito na nga naglabas ng resibo si Senator Imee. This was a photo taken on January 8 where Oñate is seen together with Romualdez and company. Dito na kumambyo si Oñate.
You said you never met the Speaker, nor Mr. Saldico, our congressman. You're under oath, sir.
Slipped my mind. It slipped my mind, Madam Senator.
It's very clear that Speaker Martin Romualdez is supporting your group po. He is all out behind the People's Initiative.
At hindi lang yan, napag-alaman din nasa bahay nga mismo ni House Speaker nangyari itong meeting na ito.
Naging host at nagkumbida ay si Speaker Romualdez. Tama po ba?
Ako po ang nagkumbida.
Paano ka magkukumbida? Di mo bahay. Hindi ba maliwanag? Kung bahay ni Speaker, siya nagpatawag ng meeting, di talagang nakikialam si Speaker sa People's Initiative?
Ako po ang initiate ng meeting. Pero sinabi po na doon na lang gawin sa townhouse ni Speaker.
So yun nga, ang explanation dyan ng grupong pirma ay administrative lang daw ang tulong na binigay sa kanila ng mga kongresista. They're saying that it is still their group that initiated the signature campaign and not the congressmen. But eto nga, yung mga congressmen are giving them tips on where to secure the most signatures. There were also 10 witnesses na humarap sa Senado, yung mga pumirma nga daw ng mga forms. At ito ang ilan sa mga narinig ng mga senators na reason daw nila sa pagpirma sa People's Initiative.
Kasi English po yung nakasulat. Basta pumirma lang po kami ng pagkasabi. Pumirma po kayo pati may ayuda po.
Utos daw po yun ni BBM.
Utos
yun po
ni
yung
BBM.
exact word.
Okay, pero
You cannot fault Senator Imee Marcos for grilling Oñate, right? I mean, if you had met the House Speaker of the Republic of the
In his
Philippines,
house.
I would not forget it.
Yeah.
So how could that slip your
Yeah,
mind,
exactly.
right? We're not passing judgment here. That's not our job. I'm just saying, like, you can't fault her for sounding
Getting upset.
incredulous during the hearing, right? And pressing on that point. Now, oo nga naman, if you had met the Speaker of the House, one of the top
There's
3
a
highest
photo pa.
officials of the land, how could that have slipped your mind, right? So something is not adding up here.
But exactly. Pero, ladies, hindi pa dyan nagtatapos ang whole drama, no? At the hearing, nagkaroon din ng sagutan between Senate President Mig Zubiri and one lawmaker. Let's get the details on that from our Senate reporter, Mean Los Baños. Mean, what happened?
Yes, Angela, one lawmaker present in the hearing was Sagip Party List Representative Rodante Marcoleta. He admitted that it was painful for him to hear the criticisms being thrown at the House and the Speaker in relation to People's Initiative.
As a member, hindi po nyo may aalis sa akin na medyo magdamdam rin ako sapagkat ang patutsada ay patungkol sa House of Representatives, lalong-lalo na po yung Speaker.
But if it is proven that it was Romualdez who's behind the People's Initiative, here's what Marcoleta said he'll do.
I will probably request him to step down.
Bahagyang nagkainitan si Marcoleta at ilang senador dahil ayaw raw ng Senado na makipagpulong sa Kamara sa pamamagitan ng Constituent Assembly.
As Senate President, as the leader of this institution, I can categorically state that we have not refused any measures. Matter of fact, I filed last week RBH 6, which is to discuss economic provisions of the Constitution. So,
Only to change your mind 3 days later, Mr. Senate President.
did I ever say, for the record, did I ever say I am no longer pursuing this? Please cite the record that I said.
Despite this, Marcoleta says the Senate should summon a certain attorney Anthony Abad for their investigation. Abad is the name of the lawyer indicated in the signature forms for the People's Initiative. The Senate said they had already invited Attorney Abad, but the lawyer is out of the country. He has now been subpoenaed by the Committee on Electoral Reforms for the next hearing. Senators are also asking for lists of personalities who donated funds for the TV ad launched by Pirma to promote charter change. Pirma says the Chacha ad cost up to 55 million pesos. Angela Onyate says half of this came from his own pocket while the rest were provided by donors. Onyate says he will submit a list of these donors in the next hearing. Angela?
Thanks, man.
At eto na nga, no? So these word wars have been flying hot and fast for a while now. Pero hindi daw kailangan na maging bastos. Yan ang sabi ni House Speaker Martin Romualdez when asked to respond to Senator Imee Marcos's bashing. In a statement issued this very afternoon, Romualdez said, and I quote, "Hindi po kailangan ng bastusan. Pinakikinggan tayo ng mga kabataan at hindi magandang ehemplo ang ganito." It went on to say that in the spirit of unity and cooperation, I am open to engaging in meaningful discussions with Senator Marcos to address any concerns and work together for the betterment of the country. Speaker Romualdez added that it is time to end the quarrel and focus on working together for the welfare of the Filipino people. But this fight is far from over. This same afternoon, Senator Imee was asked to react to Speaker Romualdez saying walang bastusan, and this is what she had to say.
Wala daw bastusan. Siya naman na nagsabi, walang pake ang Senado. Ayan. Siya nag-umpisa, nung inugali ko, yung ugali niya, umiiyak siya.
Harsh. Speaker Romualdez also responded to talk suggesting he's the one pushing for People's Initiative. Let's get the details on this from Elaine Fulgencio. Elaine, go ahead.
Reg, that's right. House Speaker Martin Romualdez admitted that there were people who approached him, including Noel Onyate, for a meeting. Romualdez said there was a discussion in his townhouse but emphasized that its purpose was to have an open dialogue with the public. The House Speaker clarified that his role, as misinterpreted by some, is not an orchestrator but as a facilitator for healthy democratic processes. He said his role is to be purely advisory. The actual People's Initiative and the gathering of signatures for it, he claims, are led by People's Initiative representatives. Romualdez also denied allegations of involvement in unlawful activities, such as vote buying related to this or any other initiative. He said such practices are against his principles and the ethical standards of government. House Deputy Speaker David J.J. Suarez, on the other hand, belittled the Senate hearing on the People's Initiative.
It's a circus. I mean, multi-academic na eh. nag-rule na yung COMELEC kahapon and bank, suspended na muna yung signatures. So technically, yung People's Initiative, wala na yun. So I mean, why have a hearing, diba? Why don't we move forward already?
Reg, as we know, the COMELEC suspended the acceptance of signature forms related to the People's Initiative on Monday. Reg?
All right, thanks so much for that update, Elaine Fulgencio.
We'll speak to former Senate President Frank Drilon over the ongoing feud in Congress over charter change and what this means for the rest of us. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte has apologized after calling for President Bongbong Marcos's resignation. Senator Imee Marcos confirmed to reporters today that Mayor Baste apologized to her shortly after his remarks against the president. Senator Imee said the youngest son of former President Rodrigo Duterte was perhaps just upset over his father and sister VP Sara Duterte being implicated in the International Criminal Court's drug war probe.
Naintindihan ko naman kasi syempre sobrang emotional siya dahil isipin mo naman ikukulong yung tatay mo at yung ate mo. Talaga namang re-revolusyon yung damdamin. Pero naintindihan ko kasi syempre yung babagabag talaga yung damdamin ng bagets.
As we've been saying, in recent weeks, we've seen the leadership of both chambers engage in a very public, very ugly word war. So how serious is this rift in Congress? And more importantly, what kind of an impact will that have on important legislative work? Let's put that question to former Senate President Franklin Drilon, who joins us this evening. Good evening, Senator Drilon. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight.
How's your day been? How's your month been and year?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go straight into it. We invited you tonight because, you had one of the longest tenures in Senate, right? If I'm not mistaken, 4 non-consecutive terms. You've seen it all. You've lived through a lot. With what's happening right now, just how bad is it? Give us the context of what do you make of all this squabbling and conflict?
Well, as you said, I've been through many political battles. This will pass. This will come to pass after a while. It's unfortunate that it happened, but in any political exercise, you expect these things to happen. But that is the beauty of our democracy. After a while, afterwards, everything will come back to normal. I am not so concerned about the present bangayan. Ang maging problema lang, kung mapapabayaan natin yung pangailangan ng tao bayan. Marami pa pong mahirap ngayon. A lot of hungry people, ang ating education system ay bagsak. And sana our leaders can pay attention to this. Yes, the charter change is a healthy debate on what to do, but we should not forget that the priorities of our people is not charter change.
All right.
Sorry, so let me just clarify that. So, in short, this exchange of words between the two chambers of Congress and by extension, President Marcos and former President Duterte, this doesn't worry you? You think it's just noise then?
It doesn't worry me. It doesn't worry me. We have been through more difficult and situations in the past, and we all come out as one nation. So I am not so concerned about all of this bangayan that we see today. I have seen it before, worse than this, and we still came out as one.
Senator naman, what's worse than accusing each other of being drug addicts?
Sorry?
What's worse than accusing each other of being drug addicts, which it has come to now? Diba?
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear.
I said, what's worse than accusing each other of being drug addicts? Because former President Duterte is saying drug addict yung presidente ngayon, and then
Maybe this is difficult to accept from a personal point of view. Mga tao rin yan nakakaramdam din na masama. Ngunit in terms of stability of our government, this will not create a situation where the government becomes unstable because of this harsh exchange of insults between President Marcos and former President Duterte. I'm not worried about that.
Right.
But what I wish is, let's buckle down to work. Let's see how we can expand the economy so that mas maraming magkakaroon ng trabaho, mas mabawasan yung nagugutom sa ating bansa.
Pero Senator Drilon, ito nga no, nobody is backing down from this word war. Of course, Senate has taken a front no na itong People's Initiative daw is main goal is to kumbaga decimate, to diminish, to demolish the Senate even. The House, of course, has already been told, supposedly in a meeting with the President himself, na the Senate should be taking the lead. That's why there was the resolution of both Houses number 6 that has been shelved. How big of a concern really is charter change? Are we finally at a point, in time where we will actually see that the charter will be amended, not just the economic provisions, but some of the political provisions? Or are you also taking this in stride?
Well, the Constitution provides for ways that it can be amended. The People's Initiative is one way. A Constitutional Assembly or CONAS is another way. And of course, the Constitutional Convention. To me, these are the clear processes in the Constitution. And, of course, the Senate rightfully feels that, for them to agree that there will be a joint voting could mean that everything will be, they'll become immaterial. They'll become, overwhelmed by the numbers. And that is why years back, I can't remember anymore, so a long time ago, I had proposed a bicameral Constituent Assembly, meaning Congress constitutes itself into a Constituent Assembly, but with the two houses voting separately. And here we assure that that only the economic provisions can be tackled, and the matter of the politically sensitive issues can be avoided if we are really after opening our country to more foreign equity.
Senator, can you refresh our memories? How was that suggestion of yours received, and what happened to it eventually?
So, I'm sorry?
How was that suggestion of yours received by both houses? And what happened to it eventually?
Well, I proposed this. I was among the first to propose this. It didn't fly for some reason or another. The proposal to pass legislation, to pass the amendments like ordinary legislation, did not sit well because it is a new proposal. It is something that I have thought of and tested, so nobody took it up.
Okay. Senator, let's talk about Senate President Zubiri's resolution of both houses number 6. No, it was seen as a compromise because yun nga no, it came after the signature campaign. I was wondering po, sir, was the Senate late to act on this? Is it being weak in addressing Chacha this time around? Because yun po yung reklamo ng Congress eh. Sinasabi nila, pag nagsa-start ng charter change initiative, ang nauupo lang sa Congress, sa Senate rather.
Well, kasi the Senate is very sensitive to public opinion. Every time a proposal to amend the Constitution is raised, the public, including the media, will always raise tentacles and raise questions as to the real motive of the proposed amendments. And the issue is always we amend with the political provisions of the Constitution, like term limits, etc., would be with the real purpose of the politicians in proposing to amend the Constitution. That is why it has always been a difficult debate. And that is why when I was in the Senate, I introduced legislation in order to achieve the purposes of a constitutional amendment without amending the Constitution. And what were these? I opened up the economy by passing the amendments to the Public Service Act, by authoring and writing the amendments to the retail liberalization law, and actively participate in many other laws which were designed to ease up our economy. In fact, I was in the opposition, but one of the shining moments that I had, so to speak, was when the economic managers wrote me a formal letter thanking me for all the help that I did in trying to open up our economy. So, technically it can be done that we open up the economy. But I must also, at the same time, admit that there are a number of other provisions in our Constitution today which can stand amendment to in order, because napag-iwanan ng panahon, ika nga. So, but this is something that is addressed to the better judgment of our elected representatives.
You're right, Senator. Seems to be a lot of distrust that this will be kept, this Chacha will be kept to amending the economic provisions. But as you correctly pointed out, there have been a number of laws in recent years that have opened up the economy. So it brings us back to the fundamental question of, do we still need Chacha at this point in time? Or should we just let these laws, some of which took effect just very recently, come into play first?
As a lawyer, I just stick to what the legal questions are. There are questions raised which would require us to dig into certain facts. I don't want to go into that at this point. I have retired from politics. I would rather look at the situation as from a constitutional and legal viewpoint.
All right, that is fair enough. Well,
Thank you so much. We've run out of time, but we'll check back in with you if this feud carries on. Thank you so much for sharing your insights tonight, former Senate President Franklin Drilon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me tonight.
All right.
right, so after that very political charged weekend, that Sunday, President Bongbong Marcos actually flew to Vietnam for a state visit, sealing deals in maritime cooperation and rice trade. Marlene Alcaide brings us the details.
Improved maritime cooperation. That's the goal after the Philippines and Vietnam signed a memorandum of understanding on incident prevention and management in the South China Sea. Both countries have claims over the disputed waters and have agreed to forge a stronger partnership to foster regional stability. There's also a separate MOU signed between the Philippines and Vietnam's coast guards. Also expected under this defense cooperation deal are high-level exchanges, training, and information sharing between the two countries' military forces.
Vietnam remains the sole strategic partner of the Philippines in the ASEAN region. And I am hopeful that this meeting will provide fresh opportunities to reinforce our bilateral relations with the aim of fostering peace and prosperity between our two countries and in the region.
Aside from defense deals, the Philippine delegation also sought to expand trade with Vietnam to $10 billion. President Marcos said the Philippines is banking on the ratification of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, to boost bilateral trade. There's also an agreement signed on rice trade cooperation wherein Vietnam will supply the Philippines with 1.5 to 2 million metric tons of rice annually for 5 years. There's also deals on agriculture, cooperation, and rural development. On the matter of public transport, President Marcos is also looking to partner with Vietnam over e-vehicles given the Philippines' goal of EVs getting a 10% share in the country's road sector by 2040. President Marcos is set to wrap up his trip in Vietnam with a media engagement and a state dinner before flying back home to the Philippines. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
We're going to pause for a quick one, but right after that, a day after being named as the new head coach of Gilas Pilipinas, we'll be speaking with Barangay Ginebra coach Tim Cohn when the big story returns. Keep it here in One News. Back. We're still watching the big story here on One News.
Let's move over to sports today because it's official. Coach Tim Cohn will be calling the shots for Gilas Pilipinas, this time permanently. The SBP, or Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas, made Cohn's appointment official on Monday, paving the way for the basketball program's new era that will be first tested next month. Speaking to reporters during the PSA Awards night, Coach Tim said that he envisions continuity for the Gilas program. And to talk to us more about his plans for Gilas Pilipinas moving forward, joining us live via Zoom is none other than the winningest coach, Tim Cohn. Coach Tim, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening.
Yes, and congratulations.
Glad to be here.
We're glad to hear that you said yes to the SBP, but what made you finally say yes to holding permanently the Gilas head coaching role?
Yeah, because we spoke to you about what was it, 5-6 months
Yeah.
ago, and this was before the FIBA finals, and at that time you were like, I'm not interested in the job. So what made you say yes?
Well, I think all the stars had to align, number one. Now, and number two, they had to want me, first of all. I think there were other people that they talked to, and they did a search. They brought me in for an interview, but to me, it was, I had to walk in and share a vision of how we thought the program could be successful and not disrupt all the stakeholders. I'm talking about the PBA and the UAAP and the NCAA, all the leagues and such, and in a way where we wouldn't also wear out the players. So, and they kind of accepted that vision, and I thought it was workable, and I think that's why I'm sitting here talking to you right now.
Can you share with us this vision of yours? Because we're also wondering how you will manage. Of course, you're the coach of Ginebra. Then you're coaching Gilas this year. At least this year is, in your words, I think, to ESPN, it's a light year, 4 games. 2 next month in February, another 2 in November. Now, these are big games for us, but at least schedule-wise, it looks a bit light. So, how do you plan to make everything work with all the Japanese league, the Korean league?
Well, it's actually 3 windows. It's one this coming month of February, and on the 22nd and 25th, and then there's another window in July. That's the big one when we were going to try to qualify for the Olympics, the Paris Olympics. That will be held in Riga, Latvia. And then we have a third window in November that will be played here in Manila. So, it's not a whole lot of stuff to do this year. They're all very, very important because they're all qualifying things, but there's going to be a lot of breaks in between. And I said earlier, I didn't want to disrupt the league, so we're trying to minimize the amount of preparation that we need to go into each window. We're only going to prepare 7 days for the first window, 10 days for the second, and 5 days for the third. And the idea is that we keep our team together. The more we're together and the more we learn from each other from each window, actually the less preparation time we actually need, because we know the system, we know each other already. We're in shape because we're already playing with our mother teams. So we can really focus in and get the preparation done, in my opinion, in a shorter period of time, and that doesn't disrupt all the other leagues.
All right, and how did you, of course, along with the announcement of you being head coach, was your new roster, your 12-man roster. You have said that you want to keep the pool small instead of big. Can you tell us about the rationale behind that and how you picked your 12-man pool?
Well, we didn't want to have a big pool because, again, it goes back to the preparation time. If you have a bigger pool, you have to spend time, trying out everybody, trying different combinations. And then you have to whittle it down and then finally get to your main group and then practice with that group. So we decided that because we have limited preparation time, we just come in with the guys that we felt would be the best team that we could form, that was balanced, that had size, that had defense in the backcourt, and was versatile, could play big, could play small. And most importantly, just guys that we felt could fit together and fill out all the positions. So, we decided let's just go with 12 and go from there. We also wanted veterans and young guys because we understand this is something that we want to keep for hopefully 4 years. And so we wanted some youth, and we got that in Carl Tamayo and Kevin Kimbao and Kai Soto, AJ Edu. And yet we have the veteran core from the Asian Games team that is there as well. And Justin Brownlee, which is, we're hoping that he'll be available for us in that first window.
Okay,
We're optimistic, I should say, he'll be available for us in that first window.
Any certain more specific update on Justin Brownlee's case with FIBA? And also, if in case that does not pan out with Justin, what's the backup plan?
Well, we do have Ange Kwame that is in France and who could come over and play with us if it looks like his suspension will go longer. But we're optimistic that we'll hear within the next few days, and we're optimistic that we through the grapevines that he could very well be available for us, and that's the plan at this point, that he'll be available for us in that first window.
Right, and AJ Edu and JB Malonzo are dealing with injuries right now. We understand that, but should they not be ready for the upcoming window? How will your replacement selection go? And of course, we're wondering who is at the top of your list.
Well, we don't really have a second list. We're trying not to have a second list at this point. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of names out there. Anybody could pick names out of the air, and that would be someone that would be available for us. The thing is that we asked 12 guys to be with the national team, and all 12 said yes without hesitation. They didn't care about if there was money involved or payment or anything like that. They just immediately said, yes, I will do it. And so that to me is a great indication. If we need somebody else, the next person I'm sure will step up and say yes. But at this point, we want to try to keep that 12 intact. Jamie Malonzo, we got good news on him. We're hoping, again, using the word hope, but we're hoping that he'll be available as well. It looks like he will. And AJ Edu will be available for the second window, not the first. But this first window, if I may add, there's going to be what's the term? Mugaloo. It's really Mugaloo. I mean, there's a lot of, because we started it so late and we didn't inform the PBA. Right now, the PBA finals is going right through this window. So we're kind of making it up as we go along for the first window. But after the first window, all the stakeholders have agreed to open things up, make sure that they give us the time that we were asking for to prepare, and all the players should be there. So, we're just going to have to kind of fight through this one against Hong Kong and Taiwan, but we should settle down by the time we get to Latvia in July.
Hey, Coach, Paris
Yes.
Paris qualifiers. I'm glad you brought up Latvia. July 2 to 7, if I recall correctly. How
Yes.
are our preparations going for that? And how confident are you? Again, the last time we interviewed you about our chances in the FIBA World Cup, and I can't remember which game that was, Sean. You said we were very confident, and you did, true enough, win that game. So this time around, where's your confidence level going into Paris?
First of all, we're not even, that's in July. So obviously we're not preparing for it yet. But what we're doing is that we're trying to think of this program as a 4-year program. We want this team to be like a team, like a pro PBA team or even a college team, where you keep it together and you let it grow through its successes and failures. And you hope that you improve as you go along. So this first window is supposed to be our preparation for the second window, which would be the Latvia. And Latvia is going to be our preparation for the third window. And that 3 windows are going to be preparation for the next year and the windows that go on. So we're trying to have a mindset that we want continuity, that we want this team to stay together, and that we want to learn and grow as we go along, just like you would do with any team, as you would do with the Nebra team. We keep our core intact. We may make a trade here or there to try to improve it once we see that there's a need. We might get a young player in the draft to join the team. But by and large, we keep that team intact and we grow with it. We're not going to win every game. We're not going to win every championship. Obviously, we just got knocked out of this last one. But, we're going to stay competitive and we're going to get better and better as we go along. And that really is the ultimate goal, is to get better as we go and try to reach our potential. We feel if we get 12 of the best players in the country together and form a team, that over time they have a chance to reach their best potential. And if they reach their best potential, there's no doubt that is going to be the best team that we can show to the world. And so that's really the program. We're not really concerned about each and every window. We're looking at cumulatively and how we can improve through each one.
All right, so more of a long-term investment here, but a lot of people are also excited that Kevin Kiambao, college favorite, has made it to the list of 12. What are your hopes for Kevin, and what do you think he can do and contribute to the team?
Well, if we're looking at it in a 4-year term, and ironically, I was just talking to Kevin a couple hours ago on the phone, and because he had just gotten back from Dubai and his tournament there. So, I was telling him that, you right now you are the young guys on the team, and that was what we wanted. We wanted vets and youth. I'm a big believer that you don't get better unless you have younger players who can grow and get better as a team. However, if you want to win now, if you want to win right away, you need veterans. So that's kind of the combination we've tried to put together. And I was telling Kevin, Kevin, you're the young guy right now, but in 4 years, you aren't going to be the young guy anymore. So, he's going to be 4 years older, 4 years smarter. He's going to be playing international ball for 4 years, along with wherever he goes, whether it be the PBA or Japan or who knows, maybe the New York Knicks, whatever. But, he will grow through those 4 years. And that's the idea of getting a young player like that. This kid is versatile. He can. He asked me on the phone, am I going to play 3 or 4, coach? And I said, Kevin, you're going to play 1, 2, 3, or 4, wherever we need you, because you have that versatility in your game, and we can use you wherever we need you to be.
But we noticed, Coach, that it's not just with Kevin Kiambao. That versatility is also present in a lot of your other picks in your 12-man roster. Was that a big part?
Everyone's becoming more well-rounded.
Well-rounded, can do multiple roles.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important. I learned that from 1998 when I coached the Centennial team. I built a team at that point to beat China. And so we were very big, and we went after China. And it was all of our thought, China, we're going to beat China, we're going to beat China. And this is in 1998. And we had a wonderful team. But the problem is that we didn't have the versatility to play Korea. Korea bushwhacked us because they played small and quick, and we weren't ready for them. So they bushwhacked us. When we played China, ended up playing them extremely well, but we got beat by Korea. So one of the things that I think I've learned from that experience and through the years of the PBA is that versatility is crucial in a team. You've got to be able to play in different styles, different ways, and you have to have that within your lineup. So we have the opportunity to play a Kai and a Jumar together and be really big, and then we have the opportunity to play an AJ Edu at the center position, be quicker, and we could play Kimbao, Kevin, KQ at 1. We could play him at 4. We could play him at 3. Same thing with Justin Brownlee. So it gives us versatility, and we can adjust to the teams that we play.
Now, hearing about your appointment as a Gilas coach, of course, many fans were definitely pleased and very excited. And what are your thoughts on the support you've been receiving from fans and, of course, the management?
Well, it's always great in the beginning. I was here during this time when my predecessor and good friend Chart Reyes was coaching the team. And I know what he went through. I know how difficult that time was for him and his family. And I thank him to death for allowing me to be a part of that World Cup, and which has led me to now. And I owe that to him. So I know this is not an easy assignment, but to me, it's almost a sacred one. This position as Gilas head coach, national team head coach, is almost a sacred one for our country. So, I feel like I'm the one who's taking care of this position, and I take great honor and pride in that. And I hope that the support continues. I'm hoping on February 25th, everybody comes and screams the heck out of Taiwan when we play them in Field Sports Arena on the 25th. I think the team will be exciting to watch, and I hope that we can represent everybody really, really well. And I hope the support continues from not just the fans, but from, the stakeholders. We got great support from Ramon Ang and MVP, and what more can you ask for? So we're hoping this program can take off and really go and be something the fans can be proud of.
Well, definitely all the news yesterday perked us up. And so thank you so much for joining us tonight, for sharing your vision and what's going on in your head. And of course, a great 2024 for Gilas Pilipinas. Coach Tim Cone, thank you.
Thank you very, very much for having me. It's been an honor.
Now, after the break, Pag-asa records the lowest temperature in La Trinidad, Benguet since the amihan season started in the country. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
The Education Department is looking to bring back by 2025 the old school calendar, which begins in June. The National Parent-Teachers Association called for the move during a hearing of the House Committee on Basic Education and Culture. The group cited heat-related concerns that affect students and teachers, arguing further that water supply in schools during the dry season are limited and many education facilities also have ventilation issues. The school calendar shifted from June to March to the current August to June in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Pag-asa has warned that if the opening of the school year is returned to June, more classes are seen to be suspended as this coincides with the start of the rainy season. Still, the DepEd says it's continuing its review and consultations around reverting to the old academic calendar continues.
So for now, Mr. Chair, the move is for us to gradually revert to June. Most likely for school year 2024-2025, we cannot do it yet for June, but the following school year, we might be able to revert to June. We already have the working document.
Mas mainam na rin talaga yung kasi talagang nadating naman sa panahon natin talaga na time na tag-ulan. Yung ay na lang, nakasanayan na talaga ng mga magulang yung dapat na ibalik. Saka yung mga bata din kasi nalilito na rin sila.
All right, before we go, our big picture tonight is about the weather. This latest photo from La Trinidad in Benguet, where the temperature dropped to the coldest in the country, at least for this amihan season. It hit 9.7 degrees Celsius on Monday. That's 0.1% colder than the 9.8 degrees Celsius recorded in neighboring Baguio City on January 27. That was last Saturday. Pag-asa did warn, though, that even colder temperatures are coming ahead in the next days to come, with the peak cold weather seen to be experienced in February. So if you are planning to go to Benguet or anywhere in the Cordilleras anytime soon, don't forget to bring enough jackets and sweaters. It's your chance to get them out of the aparador and wear them for
And be
like
fashionista.
you know, we can only wear them for a few weeks
Yes.
here.
And before you know it, March is here.
Yeah, it's going
And
to
El
be
Nino.
hot.
And don't forget, there's El Nino this year as well.
All right, that's it for the show tonight. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.